Good evening, and welcome to USC Update. I'm Ariel Pearson, filling in for Destiny at Austin, who's trying to figure out what it all really means right now.
And I'm Ethan Goodman, filling in for Parker Lambert, who's got a serious case of the Mondays, even though it's a Tuesday. Here are tonight's top stories. In Florida, police are seeking help to identify a person's identity by a tattoo after body parts were found floating in Tampa Bay. Now, this seems kind of like a problem. Like, trying to identify someone by their tattoo in Florida is like trying to identify a sorority girl based off of her white Jeep.
The creator of Grey's Anatomy, Shonda Rhimes, says she feels embarrassed for television because of how groundbreaking and diverse the casting was. I have to agree. Ignoring the casting, I too would feel embarrassed for the rest of television because of Grey's Anatomy.
A library in Indiana called the Human Library lets you borrow people instead of books with the goal of helping people unjudge a book by its cover. I personally am a little bit skeptical of this whole situation. The last time in history someone borrowed someone else, it did not end up with everyone liking each other.
Students at Howard University finally ended their 34-day-long protest regarding poor housing conditions, citing issues such as roach and mice infestations, flooding, and mold throughout various residential halls across campus. So essentially, the students got to experience what it would be like living in Bates' house.
A 23-year-old woman nearly lost her leg after attending her first spin class, which resulted in her acquiring rhabdomyolysis, a serious and potentially life-threatening medical condition that can be often caused by excessive physical exertion. Man, when those spin class instructors talk about losing weight fast, I did not know that was what they meant.
Apple reportedly is working on an iPhone feature that would help detect and diagnose mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. As nice as this sounds, I personally can't see it as anything more than a pointless feature. Why would I ever need my iPhone to tell me I have depression? I already know that.
An opinion piece published in The Guardian recently claimed that where you live plays a major role in your mental well-being. Judging by the fact that you have to be insane to live in the city of Columbia, I must agree. A recent study published on November 10th in Science Advances, led by a UC San Diego postdoctoral scholar, could possibly provide answers on just how genes function and explain how we look the way we do. This may be exciting for some, but as for me, the only thing that can explain the way I look is misfortune.
I'm very much looking forward to the results of this study because maybe finally we'll get the answers on why Machine Gun Kelly looks like a malnourished sibling of Jake and Logan Paul.
A Rhode Island man recently earned his PhD in physics at the ripe old age of 89 years old. The fact that he completed this at such a late point in his life is truly a testament to perseverance and never giving up. And the fact that he chose to get his PhD in physics is a testament to the fact that you're never too old to make a mistake.
Britney Spears' conservatorship was finally ended by a judge this past week after a long and grueling 13 years. Finally, Britney Spears can stop being continually harassed and patronized by her father and go back to being harassed and patronized by the media instead.
The death count due to the tragedy that happened at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival has now risen once again, with a now reported 10 casualties after the devastating passing of a 9-year-old child that was present at the concert. This event continues to be incredibly depressing to all, with the exception of Caitlyn Jenner, who is ecstatic that she is no longer the deadliest member associated with the Jenner family.
Halle Berry has been making the press rounds lately in order to promote her directorial debut film, Bruise, in which she also stars in the role of a disgraced MMA fighter. In an interview with CBS Sunday Morning, Berry said, "I've had to work really hard to dispel what beauty is," and asked, "Do you think this package that I walk around with spares me any real-life situation?" Yes, we do think that, Halle. Wow.
A patent recently filed by Apple suggests that they are working on a pair of glasses that would adjust a user's vision so that they are the only one able to see the content on their phone's display. In keeping with the naming scheme of all Apple products, this product will be called Eyes. It was announced on November 12th that Johnson & Johnson, the massive pharmaceutical company based out of New Jersey, would be splitting into two companies, one focusing on its consumer products and one focusing on pharmaceutical and medical products. One would be named Johnson, and the other would be named Johnson.
Elon Musk and Bernie Sanders recently got into a Twitter spat when Sanders tweeted, "We must demand that the extremely wealthy pay their fair share." To which Elon Musk responded, "I keep forgetting that you're still alive," which, I gotta say, is a little bit harsh. I mean, the dude is 80 years old. He probably keeps forgetting he's alive too.
3 snow leopards at the Lincoln Children's Zoo in Lincoln, Nebraska died of COVID-19 recently. In a statement made by the zoo on Facebook, they said that the leopards were, quote, beloved by our entire community, and that, quote, this loss is truly heartbreaking. In the meantime, experts at the zoo are still trying to figure out exactly what happened to the other 8 lives of those leopards. And in other unrelated animal death news, Winter the dolphin, whose story was the inspiration for the movie Dolphin Tale, unfortunately died recently due to twisted intestines. I don't even have a joke for this one. I mean, all I can say is that this death is really gut-wrenching.
This past Friday, Taylor Swift released Red, Taylor's version, a re-recorded version of her 2012 album, featuring never-before-heard songs, including a 10-minute long version of All Too Well. A song details the relationship she had with Jake Gyllenhaal back in 2011. Fans of Swift have been excited to finally hear this long-awaited version of the song, while Jake Gyllenhaal is excited that people are finally learning how to spell his last name.
Okay, now I have a bone to pick with Taylor about this album because it's kind of unfair that Taylor can re-record her old songs and get praised for it. Meanwhile, if I retell a joke, I get called unfunny. Now, what's the deal with that?
No, you've got it all wrong. You retelling the joke isn't the problem. The problem is that the joke was never funny in the first place.
A study recently published found that honeybees scream to each other when they are being slaughtered by murder hornets. Heather Matilla, one of the co-authors of the study, said that it's, quote, alarming to hear and that it's characterized by rapid bursts of high-pitched, harsh, and noisy sounds that change unpredictably in frequency. Not unlike how I sound in bed.
British authorities found over 900 pounds of cocaine being smuggled on a truck shipping frozen onion rings. Authorities confiscated the cocaine worth over $44 million, a loss for cocaine addicts everywhere. And it's still unclear what happened to the onion rings that were being removed to make room for the cocaine, a loss for stoners everywhere.
An 11-year-old Austrian girl contracted gonorrhea after bathing in an Italian hot spring. Researchers stated that she must have acquired the infection from the hot spring after it was contaminated with gonorrhea a few days prior. Now, I find this incredibly surprising, because are you telling me just anyone can get gonorrhea nowadays? Because I had to work my ass off to get mine.
Well, that's all the news we have for tonight. This has been USC Update. I'm Aeriel Pearson.
And I'm Ethan Goodman. Thank you and good night.